What's up, YouTube? This is me, Asian Dave, aka Fanatical for Jesus, aka Don Way, aka David Chu. I'm just coming to you real quick. I want to talk to you about how getting into relationships can make you go into a manic episode when you have bipolar. Now, in the same way that when you have bipolar, getting on antidepressants can make you go into the manic episodes. In the same way happens when you get into a new relationship. Like when you get on antidepressants, when you have bipolar, the antidepressants will release more serotonin levels in your brain, and that causes you to go manic. Whereas when you get into a relationship, it releases those same serotonin levels that make you go manic. And that's why it's so dangerous for someone bipolar to get on antidepressants. So if you have a psychiatrist that wants to put you on antidepressants, make sure you tell him hell no. Because it's just going to make you go manic. And the thing is about bipolar and getting into new relationships, when you get into a new relationship, it causes you to have the feeling of falling in love faster than normal. And I had this before because in all my relationships I ever got in, I've always been the first person to say I love you because I fell in love quicker than normal people would fall in love. And it's just is and because you feel all the when you have bipolar disorder and you get into a new relationship, you have all these intense feelings welling up inside you. You have these intense feelings welling up inside you, and they're hard to manage. And like you feel like you're on top of the world, and you feel like you just feel in a state of pure ecstasy. Like that's the best I can explain. You feel you're in a state of pure ecstasy. You're so ecstatic about the relationship that you're just like you're smitten. And like I understand people without bipolar disorder can fall in love quickly too, but when you have bipolar disorder, it's almost a guarantee that you will fall in love quicker than normal people would. And that's why the best way to combat this is when you get into a new relationship, talk to your psychiatrist and have them increase your medication to a level to where you can combat the intense feelings. And um yeah, they won't. And when they increase your meds so you can combat the intense feelings won't feel so intense. Another thing to do is to see your psychologist and go through intense counseling, and so you can work through these emotions that you're having, and you can get you can yeah, you can work through these intense emotions that you're having, and you'll reduce the chances of going manic. Um, the thing is, like, I don't know, in all my relationships, I noticed that, what would happen, I'll get these really intense emotions of falling in love, and they'll last for like a while. It'll last for like 6 months. It'll last for like 6 months to a year. These really intense emotions of being in love, but after a while, the emotions start to wear off, and once they wear off, then that's when the problems start because I don't know. I feel like my heart is no longer in the relationship. Like I feel like I'm bored. I feel like I'm bored of the relationship. I'm no longer excited about the relationship, and that's not right. But I mean, but then I still choose to stay in the relationship, even though the emotions of ecstasy or excitement have worn off, and I'm no longer in a manic episode. But while I'm in the manic episode and I'm in the relationship seems to go really well because I'm excited. And like the thing is about being manic is you can have periods where you black out. Like you get so manic, it's like the best way to explain it, it's like when you get drunk and you black out and you don't remember anything you did the next morning. Well, that's the same way when you get manic. You black out and you don't really and you don't really remember the things that you did the things you did while you were manic. People have to tell you what you did when you were manic. Um, I've had a couple manic episodes, and I didn't even remember what I did when I was manic. People had to tell me what I did, and after they told me what I did, I was always shocked that I did those things. But I mean, I also feel like embarrassed too because it's like I didn't mean to do those things, and I feel embarrassed because the things I did were pretty embarrassing. And um, but yeah, that's the thing. When you go get into a new relationship, these intense feelings that you have, can lead you to go into a full blown manic episode. And then when you go into a full blown manic episode, you have memory loss. You won't realize what you're doing. You won't remember what you're doing. The same can happen when you go into depression. When you go into depression, you can have memory loss then too. Um, and yeah, like when you go into depression, you can have memory loss then too. And it's really bad. And that's why people that have bipolar disorder need to constantly be on the up and up when taking care of their mental health. And that I'm not saying that people that have bipolar disorder shouldn't pursue relationships, even though the manic episode could wear off and then they're no longer interested in a relationship. No, someone bipolar should still pursue relationships because relationships should be more than just about feeling. So even when the mania wears off, you should still want to be in the relationship because it should be more than just about feelings. And if it's just about feelings, then you have a really superficial relationship, and you shouldn't be in that kind of relationship anyways. But if you really truly care about the person, then you should still want to be in the relationship. But just make sure the person realizes, like tell them that in the beginning of the relationship, for the first year, it's going to be the toughest year for the both of you because you're adjusting to all these intense emotions that you're feeling, and you're adjusting to the state of euphoria that you're in, and to make sure they realize that the intense emotions, the state of euphoria, is gonna wear off, and once it wears off, you may not be as connected in the relationship as you once were, but that's okay because you still want to be in the relationship and you still want to make things work out, and make sure they know that so then they're not caught by surprise when it does happen and they're not heartbroken when it does happen. Like let them make sure they know that so then they're constantly um aware of it and like they're expecting it to happen. Like um yeah. That's the mistake that I've made. I made the mistake. I didn't realize that when I got into these new relationships with women that I was going into a manic episode, and that my manic episode was causing me to fall in love really quickly, and then I would be in the manic episode for like months at a time, and by the time it wore off, my significant other was caught off guard because I never told her that that would happen, and I didn't even realize that it would happen either. Like, and it just caused a lot of problems in the relationship because I wasn't aware that that could happen. Maybe if I was more aware that that was going to happen, I would be able to warn my exes ahead of time that that might happen, and then they can decide whether or not they want to still be with me. And I mean, granted, if they chose to not be with me after it happened, I would understand why, and then I would move on. But I didn't know that that would happen, and it just caused a lot of problems in the relationship. So I'm here to tell people out there that struggle with bipolar disorder that that about this, so then they can be aware of it and they can tell their significant other about the issue at hand, about what's wrong with them, and so they can work things out in the relationship when the time comes that the mania wears off. Because I don't want to see other people with bipolar make the same mistake that I've made. And, yeah, like, I don't want to see other people with bipolar make the same mistake that I've made in relationships. And the thing is, people with bipolar disorder, they just, they, they need support. They need support around them. They need a loving support around them, because when they don't have that support around them, they will end up failing and falling down flat on their face. And without anybody there to pick them back up, it's gonna be really hard for them. That's why people with any kind of mental illness need a support group around them. That's why it's best to have a couple people around you who can notice the signs that you're going into a manic episode, and they can tell you, they can bring it to your attention. Hey, I think you're going into a manic episode right now because you're getting into this new relationship. And then they can say, I think you need to calm down and pull yourself out of this. Like make yourself realize, hey, I'm going into a manic episode because of this new relationship. I need to step back and calm myself down. But you need people to hold you accountable, like to to help you not fall into that manic episode. I mean, you're probably still gonna fall into the manic episode regardless of if you have people holding you accountable or not, because you can't really control it. But at least if you have people that are around you that can hold you accountable, at least you can there's a possibility that you can pull yourself out of it, and you can realize, hey, I'm going into a manic episode, and I need to like let my girlfriend know that this is what's going on, and so she can be aware that eventually the mania will wear off, and she needs to be aware that when the mania wears off, that's when the true test of whether or not the relationship is gonna last is gonna. That's when the true test is gonna happen. Like, because right now it's easy to maintain a relationship when you're in a manic episode because you're constantly excited about the relationship, you're feeling all these intense emotions, and the relationship will go really, really great. Usually, I mean, there's times where like if you go too manic and you start blacking out, then it could cause problems for the relationship. But when you're hypomanic, the relationship usually goes really, really well because you're excited about the relationship, you're excited about the girlfriend or the boyfriend, and um, you want your that excitement spills over onto her or him, and they get excited about the relationship, and then it's just a really good mix. But once the hypomania wears off, then the relationship is no longer then the relationship, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not any longer sustainable, but the relationship, it becomes harder, and because now you gotta actually put in work to make the relationship work. And that was my problem. Like, once my intense emotions wore off, I was no longer putting forth effort into the relationship. I was no longer I was no longer interested in the relationship, and it just caused a lot of problems with my exes. And I realize that now, like as I look back on my relationships, I realize how I got into manic episodes and how pretty much bipolar ruined all of my relationships with my exes. And I don't want to see other people with bipolar make that same mistake. Um, Anyways, so that's all I have to say about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you have any stories of your mental illness affecting your relationships, please let me know and share your stories with me in the comment section. So I'd love to read about them. And as always, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Alright, have a good day. God bless you, and deuces.